Hello, everybody. Today I'm joined by Tim from Footsore North America, and we're going to be talking about an upcoming Kickstarter campaign. Hi, Tim. It's a pleasure to have you on the show once again.
Hi, Jerry. Thanks a lot for having me. I do appreciate it.
Yeah, it's always nice to get a chance to sit down and have a natter about things. And the things we're going to be talking about is the French and Indian War in North America, which is an 18th century war, and it's one of a series of wars that culminated in some massive world-changing events. And that's not too hyperbolic to say that. For the people who aren't aware of the sort of the impact that the French and Indian Wars had, I've brought maps because it's like a slideshow presentation, and this is the sort of area that the French and Indian Wars were fought in. So it's a small part of North America and southern Canada, but the reason it's so important, this was I want to say the fourth war that century in and around this area, because I think it started with Queen Anne's, and then there was King George's, and there was one named after a priest that I can never remember, Father something, and then this war. And the very first, the end of the Queen's Anne War had this division of America between Britain, France, and Spain, and that huge swathe of land that the French held divided the British territories there. And this is the area you're going to be bringing people into, this Arcadian Canadian part, which more or less divided the British settlements. And if this war hadn't been won by the British, chances are North America would have had France as the prevailing country behind it. Mm-hmm. Now, but this war cost so much money that it ended up bankrupting France and Britain, and consequently leading to the Revolutionary Wars in both France and the United States, or continental North America, whatever you want to put it. So it's incredibly important and impactful, and it's one that gets a lot of attention in North America. And it's a set of wars that kind of gets glossed over because we had our own parts of them here in Europe. So you've decided to focus in on a specific set of battles or actions in that war, which is the sort of the Snowshoes battles, I believe they call it. There were multiples of them because they were trucking into, a savage frontier, to coin a phrase.
That's right. Yeah. That's what we really liked about this particular period in the genre. Mm-hmm. My mate Glenn Kapheim and I got together, and we both like the French Indian Wars. Mm-hmm. In particular, we really like the winter campaigns, and we wanted to do something different that we haven't seen done in 28 millimeter yet. And mm-hmm. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sorry if I am, but from a personal passion project, this was our idea to create a range that we liked and mm-hmm. that we thought would be really cool. So this Kickstarter is about fighting in what I call the snowy snow, the Savage Frontier. Mm. So we have Rangers, and we have French, and we have Canadians, and fighting in the snow. Mm-hmm. We've got them wearing the winter gear. We've got sleds. We've got snowshoes. We've got all fun figures.
The interesting thing for me, like you said, it's not a set of battles that is particularly well known generally. If you tell somebody Napoleonic Wars, they'll know what you're talking about. If you say French and Indian Wars, they'll think Last of the Mohicans, which, if memory serves from that film, it was very sunny. They were in lovely green woodland the whole time. But the snowshoe battles, which I think is mostly known over here for Rogers Rangers,
Right.
And leading almost hit and run or guerrilla tactics, a lot of raiding back and forth between the French and the American side. So
Exactly.
seeing the dress being that sort of heavier duffel coat and seeing the sleds and that sort of thing is fantastically evocative across the line.
What you don't see is, and I've had people ask me about this, the figures themselves are not on any bases. Each figure will receive a set of snowshoes, so that you have the option to glue the figures onto the snowshoes. And as part of the Kickstarter, a round base will be added to that, so that I wanted to give the option to the gamer. See, there's a good picture right there. Pardon me. I wanted to give gamers the option to be able to put the figures on snowshoes and then base them however they want it. So when people have asked me, hey, are snowshoes included? We'd love to see snowshoes. Yes, snowshoes are included with every miniature, as well as a 25 mil round base.
It's, at the moment, it's a rather, I'm going to say, bespoke, compact range. So there's sort of 2 packs plus a sled for each of the main factions there. We've got the French, have got their 2 sets, the British have 2 sets, and then the Native American Indians also have 2 sets. And then I've seen that you've talked about adding more range, or adding a more comprehensive range to this, using whatever sort of profit you get from the Kickstarter. Does that mean that you've already worked out everything, including stretch goals for this, or is this range going to be very niche to begin with, and then you'll see what surplus you have and then go back and get new sculpts sort of commissioned afterwards?
So there are stretch goals that I have not released pictures of, and those stretch goals are leaders for the French, leaders for the Native Americans, and leaders for the Rangers, as well as there's some fun stretch goals, some new character figures. Now, a lot of people have asked me, is that boat part of the Kickstarter? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So that boat, you'll receive the boat's made out of resin and some metal bits, and it's the boat itself is a 2-part mold. So it's the hull itself is one,
right,
and the cabin is the top part.
Oh, it just sets on top,
and the rest of it's metal. Stowage is resin stowage, and then you'll have received the 3 figures. So that is part of the Kickstarter as well.
So obviously there were some famous or semi-famous figures kicking around, but because it is way up north, we're not going to see a Washington figure kicking around. It is going to be focused on the people in the north. And you're saying it's historical fiction.
Right.
So it's not specific units for specific battles and actions. It's more a case of having a set of figures that will work for any of those sort of northern raids.
That is correct. And also to answer your other question, the idea that we are doing, this is a passion project, like I said. So the idea is to dip our toe into the water, get the interest, and see what gamers are really wanting, if they like this particular set of range. Do we have plans for another set of figures to expand this range? That's not part of this Kickstarter, but part of future Kickstarters. Oh, yes, definitely. Do we have figures already sculpted for that? Yes, definitely. However, this is just to see, hey, what are the gamers wanting? That's what I know that I pride myself in Footsore in the UK as well. We do our best to listen to what gamers are wanting. I think Andy Hobday said it the other day in an interview I heard, is that we write games and we make figures that we want to play. The winter was something that, again, I said before, I haven't seen before. So I wanted to be able to create fun figures in all the winter gear, and then be able to use those figures in any kind of set of skirmish rules. So this is what I consider historical fiction.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned rules that as part of the pledged levels, there will be a PDF version of an alpha version of a set of rules called Savage Frontier that is all wrapped around small unit skirmishing and tactics, mm-hmm. set in the snow, set in this particular period, this theater.
Yeah, because you don't need particularly large amounts.
No.
A lot of the northern sort of raids were less than 100 men, mm-hmm. going in and whatever happened to be, whether they were attacking camps or setting fire to buildings or that type of thing. So tight little skirmish sets of rules are always welcome, and they're always handy to have on the shelf. Have you been working on the rule set yourself, or is this being developed by is Glenn's going in with you?
Savage Frontier, the rule set, is an effort from Andy Hobday, George Esling, myself, Glenn Kapheim. Mm-hmm. So we're all working together, and Andy and George are assisting me with this. It is the Savage Frontier. The rules related and revolving around this genre is for me to write, and I'm writing. So it is a joint effort. It is definitely a joint effort.
It'll be fascinating to see how that comes to fruition. The only other sort of skirmish-based rule set that I would think of would be the likes of the muskets and tomahawks from mm-hmm. Studio Tomahawk. So it's interesting seeing another skirmish set of rules for that period appear, because it gives people choices. And if you're getting them for free whenever you're getting the miniatures, then happy days.
Sure,
I'm always good for that. Now this Kickstarter is going to be fulfilled on both sides of the Atlantic simultaneously. Yeah. So I imagine that means people shouldn't be too worried about having to back just because it's being launched by yourself in the North American side. There's not going to be a big delay between fulfillment on both sides, I imagine.
That's the beauty of this, is that the Footsore UK HQ will be casting and fulfilling that end, and Footsore North America will be casting and fulfilling here in North America. So it's nice. A lot of people have asked about that. They're very interested. They're in France, they're in Germany, and they're concerned of postage and fulfillment. So that is the beauty of this for us.
Yeah, it is. It's handy having multiple fulfillment points. Let's put it like that. It's nice bridging that gap. So you've talked about the initial packs and the stretch goals. Is the whole range going to be sculpted by Stavros? Is it all going to be one consistent? If you come back to it in future as well, is that the plan?
Yeah, the whole range will be sculpted by Stavros. I really enjoy working with him, and he's just a great sculptor.
He is,
and he understands what we're wanting to do, and so I think it's important to follow suit with this range to continue to use Stavros.
Yeah, it's one of the things I like about what Footsore have done with their ranges, is that there is the consistency within a range, even though you may have multiple sculptors working on different factions, shall we say, nations, whatever it happens to be. But having that consistency within a range is always nice, because you don't see unusual proportion changes, or you know what I mean, where there's just something that will crop up and you just go, well, that just looks slightly different for some reason, and I can't quite put my finger on it.
Right. Yeah, that's the challenge and that's the challenge that I had when I first started the moderns, is that when you're working with one particular sculptor and then you're no longer working with that particular sculptor, and then so I think it's important to have a very good relationship with your sculptors, because that's, in my opinion, that's carrying the brand forward.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. So the Kickstarter campaign itself launches on the 19th of February.
Right.
People can, if they want, go to Kickstarter, and I'll pop the link in below. and you can be notified on launch. Do you have any idea how long the campaign's going to last for? You said it's going to be a relatively bespoke campaign, so is it going to be a short campaign as well?
Yeah, it's just a 15-day campaign.
Well, 15 days is more than sufficient, I think.
I think so. You know, I think that it's good just to get the interest and then push on and move forward with, okay, right, this is what we're doing. All of these figures are sculpted. So it's just a matter of making the master molds and producing it. So all the figures are sculpted, which is great.
Yeah. I think it is a great way of gauging interest. And then if the interest is there, and I imagine it will be, that you can then garner the sort of initial push to expand the range in other directions as well.
Right.
And say running about the place for the French Indian Wars, doing the snowshoe battles is great, because they can also be used for slightly earlier and slightly later wars. So if people want to do some skirmishing towards the American War of Independence side, or if they want to push it back a bit and go for sort of Gorman's Rangers in King George's War previous, the miniatures will work for those, and obviously the Native Americans will work for a broad swathe of time. So having a variety of miniatures in and around that period is always good to see. And it launches on my birthday, so that's very good, I feel, for me.
Well,
yeah.
Happy birthday. That's awesome.
Well, yeah, I feel like in some respects it's being launched just for me, and everybody else just gets to see.
That's fun.
Come and play in it. Yeah. So is there anything else you want to say about Tim before we move on?
No, of course, I'm always very, very grateful for all the support that we receive. I'm very grateful for the support and the comments, the positive comments, especially regarding.
Never read below the line. It gets a bit dicey in places.
No, but no, I am very, very appreciative of all the support, especially over the years, and I'm excited to bring this forward to Kickstarter, and I'm excited to see these ranges. What I really am excited is to see people paint the figures.
Yeah, I can't wait to see where it goes. And I think you've brought that to Kickstarter. You've brought that to Footsore, because there's very much a medieval Europe focus and Dark Age focus from Footsore, simply because of where they started from. Whereas with North America joining that direction, bringing in things like the moderns, and then now moving into the 7 Years' War, it just broadens the horizon. So it sort of sows your seeds wide to show people that it's not just a European wargaming company, and it's broader than that, and there's a lot more coverage.
Yeah. Well, between, like you said, the moderns, the French Indian, our Greeks, Dark Ages, Andy's Barons Wars, Barons War 3 Kickstarter is going to be coming in next month. So it's really neat to see that we've got a lot of miniatures that we can cover a lot of interest, gaming interest.
And I think gamers like me salute you for it. So, folks, if you have any questions about the Kickstarter, if you drop them below, I shall attempt to wrest answers from Tim. If you want to check it out, then the link will be below, so you can sign up for the Kickstarter to be notified when it launches. And if you want to send me a birthday card, I will accept money in lieu of thanks. Until next time, bye-bye.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.